It was the week of Halloween. A couple of days before that, I was feeling sick, nauseated. So I went to my doctor and they did a test, a COVID-19 test, and it came back negative. So I'm thinking I just have the flu. The day before Halloween, I got really sick. Nauseated, started vomiting, so I came to the hospital because I knew something wasn't wrong. And then they took 3 other tests. 2 came back negative, and finally the last one came back positive. I did have COVID-19.
So that's his sister-in-law, that's his brother, and she went into the hospital with COVID at the same time he went in the hospital with COVID, and she got intubated in another hospital while he was intubated here.
And when I was in the hospital, I just got sicker and sicker and sicker. And then they moved me from there, from the Newton Hospital to St. Francis, from there to St. Teresa's, and now I'm back here in Newton at the rehab center.
Oh man, it was hard. It felt helpless because I couldn't visit. At that time, we couldn't visit. So he was in the hospital for, I think, about 6 weeks before I could finally see him. Initially, what I would do is I'd gather all prayers and messages from my family. The nurse would sit the phone. The nurse, there were some wonderful nurses here, sorry, when he was in the ICU too. But they would sit the phone by his head, and then I would read all the messages, and then I would pray with him, and then we'd play one of his favorite songs. We had a playlist for ICU, and we would do that every day just to, let him know that we were there, even though we couldn't be there with him.
Oh, it's been a long, arduous process, let me tell you.
I just kept praying. I prayed so much. I was on my knees day in and day out.
When I first got here, all I could do was lift my head up and down. I couldn't sit up in bed. I had no control over my limbs. And I just kept working at it until I'm to the point now where I can do everything but walk by myself.
Just in the first couple of days, he was sitting up on the side of the bed, and the next week he was walking out there to the hallway, and I was like, what is happening? He was eating, he was drinking, he was doing all these things that we watched him struggle with for so long in such a short amount of time. And I've told the staff, here over and over again, we're just so grateful, for this place, and I wish more people knew about it because I didn't. It was kind of like a hidden gem back here.
This is the best hospital I've been in. I recommend it to anybody. I'm just glad I'm here. The people are really caring. The nurses, the doctors, all the staff are very good people. They treated me very well.
Taking the time to allow him to do those things on his own, I think has created more independence in him and really fast-tracked his recovery. It's just been amazing.
I want to thank all the staff, the doctors, the nurses, physical therapist, the cleaning lady, everybody. They mean a lot to me.
I can't explain to you what it's like to just feel like you can breathe in a process like this, because it is a lot. They just made me feel so comfortable. And being a nurse, it's even worse, right? Because you know way too much, and but it was really that first time that I could just breathe and spend a few days with my family and feel like he was being taken care of.
During this process, I died 4 times and was brought back. So I know God's not done with me.
If I've learned anything from this, is to trust God. Wholeheartedly to trust God with everything you are. because He will lead you in the right direction. And I feel like He led us here. I really feel like that. So I feel like this is a real special place, even in the small town of Newton that I wasn't even very familiar with, you know. So this is definitely a very, very special place.
Apparently there's something else I have to do before I go, or I wouldn't still be here, obviously. And I thank God for giving me one more chance to be with my family.